Last week, I didn't want to do a rookie comparison because both Bryce Young and Anthony Richardson missed week 3. Didn't really make sense to. So, coming out of week 4 with all three of the first round rookies playing, I thought it made sense to go back and look at what's happened. And we'll start here with the number one overall pick, Bryce Young. In week 1, like if you look week 1 through 3, his numbers are gradually getting better. Now, the Panthers are also 0-4 right now. So, not much opportunity right there. There's a lot of pressure on him. He's been sacked 11 times in the 3 games that he's played thus far. But looking at the numbers, starting in week 1, he had 52.6% completion on 146 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. In the game against the Saints, he was 22 for 33, which comes out to 66.7% completion percentage, 153 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Missed week 3, came back against the Vikings in week 4 in a game that they lost 21-23, but he completed 78.1 of his passes. Okay, it's not like he didn't throw the ball. He was 25 of 32, had 204 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. His quarterback rating from week 1 to week 4 went from 48.8 to 87.1. And then in this last game, 93.2. Okay, so he's gradually getting better. But again, with the pieces that are around him, there's not going to be a whole lot of opportunity for him to be able to have the success that we expect him to, right? He doesn't look like the Bryce Young that we expected him to look like coming into the league. And while I thought that at the end of the day and at the end of these guys' careers, I thought Bryce Young was going to be the third of these three, right? The third best of these three. I thought it looked better coming out. Frank Reich, I thought, put together a really good coaching staff. Thought they did okay in the offseason. But it hasn't looked good for the Panthers so far. But Bryce Young, again, gradually getting better. Okay, so then you go look at CJ Stroud. And this one's important because he's in the division. And so far, he's looked good. He's played all 4 of his games. And he has the Texans at 2-2 and performing a lot better than people thought they would be. And if you look at CJ Stroud overall stats through 4 games, he's at 62.3 completion percentage, 1,212 yards, 6 touchdowns, no interceptions for a 100.6 quarterback rating. Okay, CJ Stroud coming into the league, like if we didn't get Anthony Richardson, like if Anthony Richardson was drafted 1 or 2, I would have wanted us to get CJ Stroud. All right. Even though I'm somebody that's like, Alabama and Ohio State quarterbacks, like I've been talking about that for a long time. People finally started catching on a few years ago, and now that's been a topic of conversation. But CJ Stroud just looked different in college. He just looked like one of those guys that was supposed to be playing on Sunday. He looks very good. He also has some good pass catchers around him. Got to get, and you got to have a good quarterback to make your good receivers look good, right? And vice versa. So Nico Collins, Tank Dell, Robert Woods, John Mechie really didn't even getting playing time and touches. So like they have a good core over there. They're being coached well. D'Amico Ryans is a very good coach. Always expected that the Texans would be good in the future. I didn't expect them to be this good this early, right? Winning their last 2 games. Granted, it's against the Jaguars and against the Steelers. Steelers look terrible right now. But CJ Stroud so far not turning the ball over. That's key for rookies. He's not turning the ball over. Completion percentage higher than what the average is for rookies. And Adam Schefter, right before I started recording this, Adam Schefter put a tweet out at 7:52 p.m. on October 1st saying Texans rookie quarterback CJ Stroud has 1,212 passing yards this season and surpassed Andrew Luck and his 1,208 passing yards for the second most passing yards by a player in his first 4 NFL games. Only Cam Newton with 1,386 had more, which is a ridiculous stat in itself. Cam Newton, the guy that was a running quarterback, had 1,386 passing yards in his first 4 games. That's crazy. Stroud is the second quarterback in NFL history with no interceptions in each of his first 4 NFL starts, minimum 30 attempts in each start, joining Gardner Minshew, who did it in 2019. So at the moment, CJ Stroud, the only one of these 3 that's played all 4 games, and he's lighting it up, passing the ball. He looks very good early on in his career, making this Texans team a tough team to beat. which kind of makes me feel good about the fact that the Colts pretty much took the Texans out back real quick in the first meeting against them this year. So at the end of the day, again, CJ Stroud looking very good. And then looking at Anthony Richardson and his stats so far, he played pretty much the entire first game against the Jaguars. Didn't play the last couple plays. And then he only played basically one quarter in the game against the Texans. Okay, but he started and finished the game against the Rams. And in that Jaguars game, he had a 64.9 completion percentage, 223, one touchdown, one interception. In the game against Houston, he was 6 for 10, 56 yards through the air, no touchdowns, no interceptions. And we'll get to the rushing in a second. And against the Rams, as a passer, 11 for 25, 200 yards, two touchdowns, no interceptions. So outside of Tyson Campbell baiting him into a throw and getting the interception there in week one, he hasn't been turning the ball over. He does have the fumble from the rush in the Rams game. So talking about the rushing here, against the Jaguars, 10 carries, 40 yards, and a touchdown. Against Houston, 3 carries, 35 yards, 2 touchdowns. Against the Rams, 10 carries, 56 yards, and the touchdown. And again, the fumble. So as a runner, doing very well. Okay, scoring touchdowns, at least one touchdown in each of the first 3 games that he's played in. He was finally able to finish a game here against the Rams. Probably could have finished against Jaguars, but they didn't want to have him in at that point. We weren't going to win the game at that point. Might as well take him out. So whatever. So at the end of the day, when you put all of his passing stats together, he's currently sitting at 56.9 completion percentage, 479 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. He has the 4 touchdowns on the ground. So overall, 7 touchdowns, 2 turnovers for Anthony Richardson. So when you're putting all these 3 together and you're comparing all these 3 and who's better than who, like when we first did this after week 2, Anthony Richardson was number 1. He was looking great at that point. Even when he went out against the Texans, he looked like he was about to put on a historic performance against the Texans before he left that game with concussion. And then to come back in this game and for things to be the way they were in the first half and for him to put the team on his back and carry the team and almost win that game there in the fourth quarter and overtime, still believe that if the Colts had gotten the ball back there in that overtime period, they would have won the game. And they would have been able to do so because Anthony Richardson willed them to get to that point. So far, CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson, both looking very good. If I had to put one above the other, if we're talking offensive rookie of the year, right now it's got to be CJ Stroud. Again, he's played all 4 games and his stats are phenomenal. He's not turning the ball over. So CJ Stroud, number 1, Anthony Richardson, number 2, Bryce Young still at number 3. As a Colts fan, I hope that's going to change, right? Colts can start rattling off wins. If we can get Anthony Richardson's completion percentage up, that'd be good. Got to keep him healthy and on the field if he has any chance of getting offensive rookie of the year. But his rushing dual threat, like the fact that he has those 7 combined touchdowns and has 2 turnovers, he's still right there with Stroud, even with missing time. So a lot of faith that he can lead our team to a lot of wins. We just got to get a lot of things corrected. And I think we have the coaching staff that'll help things get corrected as we begin to move forward. But I'll tell you, CJ Stroud, man, he's going to be a problem for a lot of years. CJ Stroud versus Anthony Richardson is about to be to us, I'm assuming, what Peyton and Tom Brady was for a lot of years. That's going to probably be the rivalry that's going to carry us for the next 15, 20 years if we're lucky. All right, so let me know. I'd love to know what you think of these comparisons. How would you rank these guys through the first 3 games? You let me know down in the comment section. And whether you're new or returning, if you haven't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. Keep coming back for more Colts content. We're going to have some film studies coming at some point this week. Got guys that are going to be coming back from injury. Is Jonathan Taylor going to be playing this week? There's a lot to pay attention to. So again, hit that subscribe button. I do appreciate you stopping by to hang out for a little while. All right. And with that said, as always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go Colts.